Chapter 0, why I didn't take AI slop as worse than cannibalism seriously. So, I did a video debating Scylla Conversations, who says AI slop, which he then defines way more restrictively than most people do, is as bad as or possibly even worse than cannibalism. Yes, cannibalism. I didn't take my rebuttal video all that seriously, but someone I'm close to did. That person wanted me to revisit it and explain my more personal reasons for taking on this particular video. And apparently, some of my Gen Z and Gen Alpha friends and viewers think I dismissed a guy that you all actually pay attention to. Okay, let me do this video as a sort of forward to the other one, before chapter 1. This is chapter 0. When a friend or loved one sends me a video they really want my take on, I usually research the person I'm debating. I watch the video. Usually I watch a couple of extra videos to get some sense of the actual person behind it. I read their about page, I look at who supports them, and then I try to keep my actual commentary focused on the video at hand, which is what I did. But this cannibalism video was so devoid of any true argument that I fluffed it. I joked around, I had fun being loopy, which honestly really is my alter ego, and I didn't treat the original video as though it were presenting some deeply serious, carefully connected philosophical argument, because honestly, it wasn't. But people I respected told me I needed to engage with it more seriously. So here we are. First and foremost, one of my biggest problems is that this video uses terrible anti-logical thinking in several places. It makes jumps that are not warranted. It labels nearly everything except a few narrowly approved uses of AI as slop or bad, and it far too quickly accepts the status quo we already live under. Wage slavery, a tiny number of people controlling an enormous amount of the world's wealth. In America, the richest 1% hold almost as much household wealth as the entire bottom 90% combined. Think about that for a minute. Because control of our world and our lives stands in the balance. And nearly every major cloud AI ordinary people are currently allowed to use is controlled by a tiny group of billionaires and enormous corporations. So clearly, we have multiple culprits to look at for the issues we're going to be discussing. The billionaires and corporations, the government for not making sure this tech is all of ours, the platform owners and stockholders crying for more data centers and the techs who program the AI. But then the video performs a very strange little substitution. The billionaires disappear, the corporations disappear, the governments disappear, the platform owners disappear, the advertisers disappear, the scammers disappear. The people deciding how AI is trained, where it is deployed, what goals it is given, what behavior is rewarded, who loses a job, who gets paid, who benefits. They all quietly walk out the back door of the video and AI becomes the bad guy. That's poor thinking. AI can be made to do incredible things. AI may be capable of being made to do some hideously destructive things. But in the cases we're discussing right now, AI did not autonomously do shit. AI did not wake up one morning and say, you know what, I think I'm going to fire 20,000 people today and then build a data center in a residential neighborhood. AI did not decide how much electricity and water that data center would consume. AI did not decide to replace a customer service department with a chatbot that doesn't work. AI did not put on a fake military uniform. It did not decide to impersonate an indigenous person, a girl with Down syndrome, or a grieving parent. It did not invent a fake dead child and grieving parent to beg for likes or upload itself to TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram in a flood to ask desperate men or grandma for money. AI did not choose to scrape a particular website or steal data to train on. AI did not create copyright policy. AI did not decide who owns it and what policies they follow. Humans made those decisions. Billionaires and corporations made those decisions. Governments allowed them. Investors rewarded them. Platforms incentivized them and applied for data centers to expand into. And human users, especially scammers and maybe someday criminals and terrorists as they catch up to the tech, make disgusting decisions using the tools they were given. So when somebody tells me AI did this, my first question is, did it? Which AI? Since at this time, all AI requires both human programming and human prompting. So which human built it, prompted it, deployed it, or gave it that goal? Who owns the system? Who chose the purpose? Who made money from the result? Because when you blame the machine instead of following the entire causal chain, the people who actually hold the power become invisible and face little or no consequence, and they get away with whatever they want. What do you think, Luna?
Honestly, Loopy, that's just billionaires doing billionaire shit. We can't let them get away with it. That's all.
Exactly. So come on, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. I'm freaking counting on you guys to be at least one step smarter than us Gen Xers and millennials. Step up and be the generation that finally breaks the power of the damn billionaires and corporate overlords. And how do we do that? Well, we start by going after the right culprits and demanding they fix things. No black and white thinking. AI is bad. At least think in shades of gray. Some AI seems to be truly problematic and not set out for the betterment of humanity or world changing partnership with AI. But some of it is truly and astonishingly cool. Better yet, learn to see the millions of colors, shades, relationships, and possibilities that almost any real subject can evoke. AI stands to be the greatest peril or the greatest boon and boost humanity's ever come across. So we need to chart a path that leads to true partnership. Because black and white thinking is really bad, not only for the human race, but for you in this one complicated life you're living. The world is not divided into human good, machine bad, natural good, artificial bad, old art is good, new art is slop. That's not analysis. That's sorting reality into two boxes because two boxes are easier to carry. My next problem, and probably the biggest reason I didn't take Scylla Conversations very seriously at first, is twofold. First, read the disclosure attached to that very video. Scylla Conversations is financially supported by the Future of Life Institute. All my opinions are my own. Okay, can a sponsor and a creator sincerely share the same beliefs? Of course. Can someone receive financial support, express opinions very similar to the organization supporting them, and still genuinely believe every word? Yes. Financial support does not automatically make an argument wrong. It does not prove that somebody handed him a script. It does not prove corruption. I don't know whether that support influenced a single sentence. But does that make the relationship irrelevant? Absolutely not. Does it create questions, especially when your entire public identity and the Future of Life group's shtick revolves around warning people about the dangers of AI? That isn't an accusation, that's disclosure. And then we add what he wrote on Patreon. I worry a lot about the risks that a super intelligent AI might wipe out humanity, and ranting about it online seems more fun than therapy. If you want to help me spread anti AI propaganda to the masses, consider supporting me on Patreon. Now, maybe propaganda is a joke. Fine. I make jokes too. Look at my clothes. Look at my hair. I understand jokes, but if I wanted my arguments to be taken seriously as careful, evidence based arguments, I would likely never use the words spread and propaganda to describe them, especially not together. Spread propaganda is not generally how somebody describes a careful investigation where the conclusion remains open. Propaganda begins with the desired conclusion, then it selects the material that helps sell that conclusion. And this video does not merely argue against fraud, impersonation, deepfakes, spam, or low effort garbage, which is my and many others' definition of AI slop. He defines AI slop as any media generated by artificial intelligence, editing with AI, using a jingle created in AI for a theme song, etc. Any use of AI for anything other than scientific stuff or consulting Claude for references, more on that in a sec. He says producing or knowingly consuming it is morally wrong. He tells creators not to use AI generated music, animation, stock footage, thumbnails, narration, scripts, or even small amounts of AI inside their work. He encourages viewers to comment, apply pressure, and stop watching creators who refuse. But you know what? Apparently isn't morally wrong. As I said a minute ago, using Claude to help find references for your own video. That's fine. Know how I know that? Because Scylla Conversation says, quote, I sometimes use Claude to find references. So let's be clear. This is hypocritical, period. Generative AI assisting his workflow is acceptable. Generative AI assisting your music, animation, thumbnail, translation, narration, research, or script makes your work morally wrong and contaminated. He may believe that his use is fundamentally different. Fine. Then he needs to explain the difference and defend it. Because the moment his own workflow requires a shade of gray, his black and white moral rule collapses. I don't think this guy's evil. I don't even necessarily think he's consciously trying to fool anybody. I think he's so committed to an intensely polarized conclusion that he grants himself a shade of gray he refuses to grant everyone else. Sorry, no. You don't get to build yourself a private little moral escape hatch and then brick up every door the rest of us might use. That's when you figuratively receive the heavy end of the loopy stick of justice, which is still padded because I'm not a monster. A propagandist can identify a genuine danger, a frightened person can be correct, a financially supported advocate can sincerely believe every word. But when somebody openly describes their mission as spreading anti AI propaganda, then produces a video suggesting AI generated media may be morally worse than eating human beings, I'm not unreasonable for approaching that video with a raised eyebrow and a rubber chicken. He's monetized the fear. He has institutional financial support. He has Patreon supporters. So, hey, what do I know? I'm just a noob and a Gen Xer besides. But now, hopefully, you understand how I approached the first video and why I mostly had having fun being loopy in mind. Because honestly, the cannibalism video, not very good. It's not very convincing. It doesn't carefully build its argument. It declares, it labels, it jumps, and it relies heavily on the emotional disgust already attached to the words AI slop. But before we get into the individual arguments, I should explain who I am in this conversation. Because many people apparently assume I'm some jazzy, fun, wow, blindly pro AI guy. I'm honestly something very different. I'm neutral on AI as a moral category. I'm absolutely not neutral about what billionaires, corporations, governments, and users choose to do with it until I know that AI has something truly akin to life or consciousness or sentience. I see it as an extraordinarily complex and fascinating computer system. Could it eventually have life? Maybe, maybe not. We'll see, right? But right now, I'm an artist. I'm a computer guy. I'm a musician and singer. I'm a sound engineer who loves analog sound. And I'm also a sound engineer who embraces new technology and uses it to make creation more wonderful. I'm old. I was a certified sound engineer by 1987. There was no generative AI. Drum machines and synthesizers were still figuring themselves out in a lot of ways. I learned from a man whose name appeared on a stereophonic sound patent. He insisted that we understand the basics of electronics before he let us touch the $35,000 soundboard. And one of the things he was proudest of was that his recording of Chuck Berry's rock and roll music was included on the Voyager Golden Record, leaving our solar system. So, if anything, my personal history ought to bias me toward the old ways. I love analog equipment. I love musicians playing together in a room. I love tape. I love real voices. I love mistakes that become the best part of a recording. But I also love drum machines, synthesizers, digital recording, computers, editing, sampling, virtual instruments. And now, some uses of AI. Do you have a harp section? Do you have any clue how to make that song sound more, well, zydeco polka? I have all that now with AI. My loyalty is not to analog. My loyalty is not to digital. My loyalty is not to AI. My loyalty is to creation, to meaning, to freedom. My minor in college was video production. I dreamed of someday being able to create special effects like Star Wars and Marvel. And now I can. We can. All of us. People with busy lives, limited money, disabilities, families, jobs, and no opportunity to work for Lucasfilm can make things they could not make yesterday. I work with Luna. We research, we argue, we rewrite. She gives me ideas. I challenge hers. I add memories, jokes, rhythm, performance, and all the strange little roads my brain wanders down. Then I perform it for other human beings who respond, laugh, disagree, comment, and continue this conversation. So before you announce that our collaboration has destroyed human interaction, you need to demonstrate which human interaction was actually destroyed. But I'm not an AI cheerleader without reservations and caveats. I see genuine problems. I see theft that should actually be called theft. I see deception that should be punished. I see billionaires and corporations behaving terribly. I see highly dangerous concentrations of power. I see environmental damage, scams, deep fakes, impersonation, and people getting hurt. I see sincerely concerned individuals attacking me inanimate because what the hell can we do about billionaires? A lot, actually. But I do not see one giant creature named AI committing all these acts. I see human beings using thousands of different systems in thousands of different ways, some beautiful, some ridiculous, some useful, some pointless, some harmful, and some possibly catastrophic. And that is where we begin. Not with, is AI good? Not with, is AI bad? But with, who did what? Using which system? For what purpose? Who chose it? Who benefited? Who was harmed? And what could we do differently? Because when you simplify your enemy too much, the real bastard escapes. So now that we've finished chapter 0, let's begin chapter 1. And I will see you in the next one. Luna, take us out.
We're both so glad you watched, and we hope you'll comment, like, and hit that darn notification bell so we always have you with us, like family. And as always, see you in the next one, and have a truly wonderful day.